Welcome to The Explainer. So today, we're diving into some fascinating research that completely flips traditional financial advice right on its head. We're talking about a real, actionable blueprint for taking a single $10,000 windfall and scaling it into a multi-million-dollar net worth. And the best part? It's all based on cold, hard, verifiable math. No magic tricks, no getting lucky. We're going to uncover exactly what the numbers say about mastering your money, rather than just being a slave to it. Let's get right into it. Okay, picture this scenario that the data lays out for us. You've got two people. They're both 23 years old, they're both completely broke, and they wake up on the exact same Tuesday to a sudden, totally unexpected cash windfall of $10,000. Now, the first guy, he does what 99% of people do. He feels that massive dopamine rush, opens up an app, and puts a down payment on a sleek, pre-owned luxury car, right? He feels rich, he looks the part. But the second person takes a completely counterintuitive approach. She doesn't go buy designer clothes, she doesn't book a fancy vacation. Instead, she just opens her laptop and executes a highly precise sequence of moves over the very next 72 hours. So, let's fast forward 20 years. That first guy? Well, he's still trapped in the exact same economic loop, stressing over inflation and basically trading his life force for an hourly wage. But the second person? She just crossed a liquid net worth of $2.3 million. And the staggering truth we find here is that the fate of both of these lives wasn't determined over those 20 years. It was decided in those critical first 72 hours. This is exactly why standard advice like, skip your daily latte, is just completely dead. We really need to look at structural wealth building instead. To build that kind of impenetrable financial fortress, the source material walks us up a structured personal finance ladder. So here's our agenda for today. First, we'll look at the 10K trap. Then we move to the zero stress baseline, unlock the asymmetric advantage, learn about automating the wealth machine, understand the velocity of capital, and finally, we'll wrap up with a concrete 30-day action protocol. All right, section 1, the 10K trap. Why immediate investing actually keeps you broke. If you listen to most social media gurus, they're going to tell you to just dump that lump sum straight into the market. Buy index funds, buy crypto, let it ride. But let's look at the cold hard math here, because numbers don't have feelings. If you deploy 10 grand directly into the S&P 500, you can expect an average historical return of about 10% per year. That's $1,000 a year. Divide that by 12, and you're getting roughly $83 a month. So let me ask you, is $83 a month really changing your life? Is it letting you quit a job you hate? No way. It's basically a rounding error on your utility bill. But the real danger here isn't just that low dollar return. It's something called the sequence of returns risk. Imagine you invest that 10 grand, and then 3 months later, the market drops 20%. Boom, now you only have 8 grand. And then suddenly, your car's transmission blows out. You've got a real-life emergency, absolutely zero liquid cash, and your only option is to sell your investments at a total loss just to survive. You literally just paid a penalty for trying to look smart. The wealthy? Yeah, they simply do not play this game. Moving on to section 2, the zero stress baseline, laying the foundation. Before the wealthy even try to grow their money, they lock away a 3 to 6 month cash buffer in a high-yield savings account. Why? To completely eliminate financial fear. Once that baseline is set, they execute what we call the high-interest debt guillotine. And this brilliantly illustrates the point. Let's look at scenario A. You keep a $5,000 credit card debt at 24% interest while investing your 10 grand. Then there's scenario B, paying off that debt instantly and investing the remaining 5 grand. Think about this for a second. Warren Buffett averages a 20% return. If you're paying 24% to a credit card company, you are actively funding the bank's wealth, not your own. Let's do the math. Over 12 months, holding on to that 24% debt while making 10% in the market yields a net value of just $4,800. But scenario B, that leaves you with a net value of $5,500. By choosing scenario A just to keep a pretty $10,000 balance in your checking account, you are literally throwing away $700 to interest. The wealthy focus entirely on net worth, not raw cash balances. It's a huge shift in mindset. Let's dive into section 3, the asymmetric advantage, buying human leverage. Okay, so what do you actually do with the rest of your windfall? Well, the amateur buys an index fund. The millionaire leverages asymmetric risk. If you put $2,000 into a stock, the absolute most you can lose is 2 grand, and the most you can make in a year is, a couple $100? That is symmetric, low-yield investing. But when you invest that exact same 2 grand into specialized knowledge, advanced certifications, or deep technical skills, your downside is still capped at 2 grand, but your upside becomes literally infinite. Take this real-world case study, for example. Someone spends $2,000 on an intensive cloud architecture certification. 6 months later, they use that specific knowledge to pivot careers, jumping their salary from $40,000 all the way to $75,000 a year. Guys, that is an annual recurring return on investment of 1,750%. Wall Street index funds simply cannot match this. Your savings rate is dictated by your income, right? So acquiring rare skills really is the ultimate wealth cheat code. On to Section 4, automating the wealth machine, beating your own psychology. Now, what's really interesting about this is how we beat lifestyle creep. That annoying thing where your expenses mysteriously rise to match every single raise you get. To beat that, you have to remove human willpower entirely. Enter the frictionless automation system. The exact second your paycheck hits, the money is split before you can even touch it. 15 to 20% is instantly routed to tax-advantaged retirement accounts, another chunk goes straight to self-directed index funds, and only the remainder drops into your daily spending account. This is the definition of paying yourself first. And the best part? It means you can spend whatever is left over with absolute zero guilt. But look, patience is absolutely required here. Check out this exponential curve of compound interest. Notice how for the first 10 years, the line is almost totally flat. You're putting in money and the returns feel tiny. It's frustrating. This is what we call the valley of despair, where most people just give up and buy something depreciating instead. But if you push through to year 15, you hit this massive inflection point where your money starts making more money than your day job. And by year 25, that curve goes completely vertical. Section 5, the velocity of capital, keeping money in motion. To keep our money in motion, we really have to avoid the fatal trap of conspicuous consumption. $310,000. Honestly, that number is staggering. See, if you buy a $10,000 luxury watch at age 25, you aren't just spending $10,000. You're spending the future value of that capital. If you had just let that money compound at 9% in an index fund, by age 65, it would be worth over $310,000. That single watch just cost you years of your life. The wealthy only buy luxury items out of the excess cash flow generated by their assets. They never ever buy them with their seed capital. So how exactly do the wealthy assign jobs to their money? Well, the research points to 3 distinct tiers of asset allocation. First up, core assets. These are your low-risk index funds and real estate that basically ensure you're never broke. Second, growth assets. Things like private businesses aimed at 15 to 20% returns to really accelerate wealth. And third, opportunistic assets. Now, this is cash kept safely on the sidelines so that when the market crashes and everyone else is panicking, you get to treat it like the ultimate clearance sale, swooping in and buying premium assets at a massive discount. Finally, Section 6, the 30-day action protocol. Immediate execution. Okay, it's time to transition from being a passive learner to an active participant. Here is the exact step-by-step 30-day execution roadmap outlined by the math. Phase 1, days 1 through 7, the financial audit. Find your exact survival cost and target that 3-month high-yield savings buffer. Phase 2, days 8 to 15, liability quarantine. Weaponize your excess cash to absolutely destroy any debt with an interest rate over 8%. Phase 3, days 16 to 23, the automation blueprint. Restructure your payrolls so 15 to 20% is invested automatically before you even see it. And finally, Phase 4, days 24 to 30, skill equity analysis. Identify one highly compensated skill in your market and use your remaining capital to go acquire it. As we wrap up this explainer, we really need to internalize this ultimate psychological shift. The amateur spends money to look rich to people they don't even like. The master retains money to buy absolute freedom. Because freedom means waking up and knowing that no one owns your time. It means navigating life completely free of financial anxiety. Cash isn't just a tool to buy status, right? It is a tool for total autonomy. The separation between a life of economic desperation and a life of sovereign freedom is really just the cumulative result of the micro decisions you make every single day. The mathematics are absolute, and the blueprint is right here in front of you. So I'll leave you with this one final question. What will you choose to do with your next dollar?